it's literally just like taking me to like an informational page, and it's talking about the Microsoft privacy statement, but
Okay, you know what? It's still recording. So if you look at the top left-hand side, you should see
oh,
a
I see the
timer.
red dot.
So yeah, it's recording. We're good.
Crap. Do you want to just keep going?
Yeah, we'll do it. And
All
then
right.
so I'll make sure to edit this part out. Hey everyone, thank you for joining the first episode of the Money Coach Show. This is a show where we feel everyone needs a cheat sheet so your money can take care of you. I have with me here Damian Gutierrez, and myself is Robert Sierra, and I'll let Damian introduce himself so he can help you guys understand why we're doing this show.
Hello, everyone. I want to go ahead and let you know my name is Damian Gutierrez. I've known Robert for close to a little, I think about 30 years, a little over 30 years now. We both grew up in Fontana, went to Fontana Unified High School. Afterwards, I went to Cal State San Bernardino, got an undergrad in criminal justice, did 2 years with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department because I thought I was going to be an FBI agent. Um, but during that time, I was always working in mortgage banking. Worked for a few known companies, HSBC and Citi over the years. Um, did mortgage banking for about 8 years when the Great Recession hit. Did another 2 years in mortgage consulting, specifically with law firms. At that time, I thought it was a good idea to go back to graduate school. So I went ahead and pursued an MBA with a focus in finance. So once I got out of there, worked for Southern California Edison for a few years and was an analyst roughly 12 years in total before I kind of took a step back. And so that's a kind of a quick, just brief CV for everybody, but just to give you an idea of, I've had about 12 years as an analyst, did about another 10 years as a mortgage banker. I do have a very, very wide breadth of knowledge when it comes to finance, financial services, and a lot of other things that hopefully I will be able to teach all of you in the coming episodes in the coming time. But now I want to go ahead and turn it over to Robert so he can give his introduction.
Thank you, Damian. Appreciate that. And as he mentioned, we've been friends for quite some time, so there's some trustability there between each other, and this is why we're coming together. Myself, as an entrepreneur, I partner owner of a couple of salons, uh, fresh out of high school, and then when the market crashed in 2008, that got me curious because a lot of my clients were mortgage professionals, and silly me wanting to jump into that business as it crashed. Um, I cut my teeth at a law firm that my friend Damien here was able to allow me to break into. And since then, it took off. That I wanted to get more and more into it. I became a disclosure processor so I can understand a little bit more about the processes behind what it took to generate a mortgage. Then I eventually started working for a SaaS company, that's a system as a software company, where I advised loan officers how to best suit different mortgage products. And what I mean by that is illustrate the best possible loan avenues for their clients. Then I thought, I got that wild hair up my butt and said, I can do this. Let me go get my NMLS license. And I am a licensed loan officer in the state of Virginia, as well as Texas, and soon to be in many other states. But with that being said, this is why we wanted to create a holistic financial education channel for consumers like you to navigate through both your retirement, credit debt, eventually to the largest purchase just about every American will make, which is a home. And because as Damien and myself, we believe in home ownership, and that is the American dream, and it's still attainable. With even these interest rates where a lot of people like to scare you and say, we have high interest rates. Newsflash, we've always had high interest rates. In the 80s, when we were children, our parents had double digit interest rates. Mind you, the homes weren't as expensive, but neither were their incomes either. They weren't nearly what they are now with people, with so many educated people. Now, as I've given you a brief summary about myself, and also my NMLS number, just for all of you that want to keep track. It is 1435167. So now, as we're trying to offer a synopsis for people to understand what they're getting into, I'm going to go ahead and ask Damien to explain a little bit more about what mostly everybody has currently, and that's either a 401k, because most of the time, if you work for a company and you're working 40 hours a week, your company will supply some type of 401k. And before Damien gets into it, if you're not putting in at least 1%, you're cheating yourself. So with that being said, I'll hand it over to the man, and with all the knowledge with that, Damien, knock it out.
Thank you, Robert. And yeah, just like what Robert was saying, the best time to start investing is yesterday. And if you haven't started, there's always tomorrow and today. Um, I'm going to cover a few major topics in the later episodes as we go through, which is going to be mostly covering the area of retirement investments. We're going to be talking about your 401ks. We're going to be talking about your IRAs. We're going to be talking about Roth IRAs. We're going to be talking about CDs. We're going to be talking about 529s. Those are the college saving plans. We're going to be talking about, there's also Roth 401ks. There's a lot of different things that you can do with a lot of your retirement and investment options that are out there. And, the 70s and the 80s are gone. The days of pensions have flown away decades ago. And this is the type of retirement that all of us have to take upon our shoulders with our 401ks and our Roths and our rollovers and what have you with our retirement. Because at the end of the day, they even say it on the government website for the Social Security Administration. Your Social Security should not be your only form of retirement. They even advise you on the website itself. So with that said, that is something that we're going to cover in several other videos that will be coming in the future. And we're going to be talking about a lot of these different subjects. But when it comes to your retirement investments, I'm going to be the one who's going to be speaking to that, mostly because of my experience. I've been a financial analyst. I've been a business data analyst. I got my MBA from Cal State Fullerton. Go Titans! And so I'm a big I still would go to alumni events. I do believe in communities. I do believe in supporting for your communities and how you can help. And this is how we're trying to help out in our community. So with that said, we're going to be moving into credit and debt services, and I will let Robert take the helm. Go right on ahead.
Thank you, Damien. And you know what? And as we go through our little intro, there's going to be a little bit of a dialogue between us where we're going to ask each other questions more. So most of the time, there will be questions that you guys will probably have. And as you may see in the YouTube channel, there are comments. So please ask comments, because we will reply to them. If I don't, Damien will be able to. So make sure you ask those questions, because that will help us gauge what you, the viewer, needs to understand. Because again, this whole channel is about education, primarily for you, the consumer, for everybody. And, we're not trying to sell you a service. Come call us so we can, get a $5,000 retainer and guide you through it. These videos will help you guide through it, because again, as Damien mentioned, credit card debt, as a mortgage professional, that's something that we constantly see when you go and apply for any type of loan. You get your credit pulled, especially if it's a secured credit, and understanding what secured credit is and unsecured credit. Unsecured credit is terrible credit. It really doesn't advance you so much. Secured credit is actually something that you really want to be able to take advantage of, because that's going to help you understand what credit is. And then we're going to go through on how to manage your credit. So how to pay off your bills. Just a quick overview. Tackle the largest debt you have first. Then we can understand, hey, that's going to better understand, hey, I need to pay that largest debt off first. A lot of people will say, well, tackle the first one. No, tackle that largest one, because that largest one, you're going to have to pay the most interest on. That small little, $50 debt, yeah, I can get rid of that, but that wasn't $50 that you can pay off to that larger debt, where you're going to have interest on that larger debt. So we want to make sure you can understand that in later videos. Also, how to improve your credit. Ask how to do that. That's going to be able to understand what power payments are. Power payments are tremendous that not too many people love talking about or really understand what a power payment is. A power payment on your debt would be breaking your debt up into two payments per month. A lot of times people say, well, hey, I have a credit card payment that the minimum payment is $200. I can't make a $400 payment. Duly noted, because hey, finances are tight right now and they're tight for everyone. But a power payment with a dual payment is saying, hey, at the first of the month when that credit card payment is due, pay half of it, then make sure you still have at least the other half for on the 15th to the 17th of the month, so you can make that payment. And honestly, I would say $10 more. So do 110 on that second payment, because creditors, you're going to trick the algorithm so they can actually see, oh, I'm making two payments a month when you're just making one, but it's a little bit more than that one payment. And it's better on your credit. They look at you as far more trustable, that trustability factor that, hey, you know what? Robert's making double payments each month, not realizing it's not two $400 payments. It's $210. I'm just splitting that payment up into two segments. That's far more advantageous through the algorithm. And they're, AI is smart, but we, the people, can out trick those algorithms. And let's not forget, it's people that create that AI. So there are many ways that you can find those loopholes to benefit yourself off of. And then also last, what I like to love, what I love to talk about, and I can go on and on and on, as Damien cut my teeth into the mortgage industry, and I fell in love with it, because again, the American dream of having that home in the cul-de-sac with the picket fence. It's like, hey, you know what? I believed that as a child, as we grew up in the streets of Fontana, we believed in that. And now I have it. I'm not going to sit there and say, oh yeah, I have 25 properties and my net worth is, $15 million. That's, in complete honesty, that's stupid. Start with your first one. Start with the one you have now, because that is what most people are looking at. We're not doing a get quick rich scheme here. What we're doing is education for you, because you know what? Again, the American dream is super important. And sure, you can look at all these, get quick schemes, but you know what? At the end of the day, your retirement is going to be your nest egg. Your nest egg is that nest that you live in now. And if you don't have a nest that you own, we, by Damien helping you with your retirement, me helping you with your credit, can get you into that mortgage. And you know what? A lot of the times it's a starter house. Then you can build off of that. And I'm going to show you guys awesome tricks to be like, hey, I have a starter house. And most of the time in a starter home, if you buy a condo that's affordable and you're single, and then all of a sudden you get married, you have a significant other, you have a dual income, you start to outgrow it, figure, well, I need to buy a new house. And hey, you know what? You can keep that starter home as a rental for passive income. How you can do that so you're not having to come up with another 20%, or even, if you don't have 20% for that first down payment, another 20% as an investment payment, because lenders look at that. Oh, is this an investment or is this something you're going to live in? And we'll go through that a little bit later on. So that's a little bit sneak preview, but we're going to understand what your first mortgage is, all the documentation for that first mortgage, what your second mortgage can be if you need to take out a second lien. And I say that very, very conservatively. If you need to take out a second lien. Also, what I'm going to mention very conservatively is a HELOC. What's a HELOC? A home equity line of credit. That's basically, they're giving you a reusable credit card based off of the equity you have in your home. And then again, something that everyone needs to know is that's not a fixed rate. That's an adjustable rate. And it's based off of the prime rate. What's the prime rate? It's cost of index fund. So you're finding out more and more what the mortgage is about, because you know what, as if you're watching this video on YouTube, Instagram, whatever, you're going to find a lot of professionals that are going to, mortgage professionals that are going to want to try to sell you on something without explaining it to you. That's the difference with this show. We are going to explain things to you so you can go into the buying table educated. Even if you don't use our services, as far as me being a loan officer and Damien being the lazy aunt to be able to elevate your retirement, we want you to be able to have that information, because you know what? It's not taught in public schools. It's not taught in college. You have to go out and seek it. And that's something that, Damien, is it frustrating how many people don't know this information?
Yeah. And the worst part is you always have to pay for it. When I was helping my mom with her retirement over a decade ago, and was getting her 401k and all of her IRAs in order, and we when we looked for help, the majority of the time, she had Fidelity, and then she also had her money with Vanguard. Um, but it was always at a price. And some of them were just some simple questions, and I just took it upon my own. I was like, you know what? We're gonna find this. We're gonna create our own cheat sheet, and we're gonna have a way to get through and guide ourselves through this system, because there are no guides out there. There is not a lot of help for the average everyday consumer. They do that on purpose. They do that so they can get you to pay them. I frankly love that I did a lot of my own retirement planning myself without anybody's help, made double what somebody would make with a financial advisor. To me, I feel like everybody can do this. It just takes time and diligence, just like with all things. Practice,
Oh yeah.
work.
And with that being said, I don't know if it's coined, but Damien's my financial guru. He helped me with my Fidelity account, with my 401k account, what to look for, to where I was getting minimal returns. And on one of them, I wasn't getting any returns. And within the past 9 months, I'm getting double digit returns. And I'm just watching my money grow, which is amazing to me, because you know what? Allowing your money to work for you is key. We always hear of so many, oh, you got to be really, really wealthy to allow your money to work for you. Damien, I'm not throwing you under the bus. I'm trying to elevate you. Where are you calling from now?
Oh, I'm in Spain.
Yeah, he's in Spain. Are you on vacation?
No, I'm done. We're living here.
Yeah,
We I left the states a year ago.
exactly. Exactly. See, and that was one of the fundamental reasons why when we came together, we talk all the time because we're best friends. We're pretty much brothers. And we wanted to make sure people understood this. It's like, when was the right time for me and my wife to buy a home? We sat there and we discussed the financials of it, and I'm blessed enough to say my wife, she's, she's has an amazing career of her own, where it's not just me relying on, the family's relying on me. We were sitting there able to, let's say, not barter knowledge, but exchange knowledge, because again,
Yes.
at the end of the day, knowledge is power. And if we're not being able to shed it to other people, you're you're watching people walk to a cliff without warning them, hey, there's a cliff there. What we're trying to do is say, hey, there's a bridge if you just walk that way, because that's what we want people to do, to get to that other side, to be able to find that end destination point with your retirement, with your 401k, with your mortgage. Because with inside of these three elements that we mentioned, retirement and investment, handling debt, mortgages, you do have that potential to financial freedom. I love the quote from Thomas Jefferson. It's like, it's part of our Bill of Rights, the pursuit of happiness. What's happiness to you? I know it's not going to work 40 hours a week, slaving over that, and then turning around and say, well, I have my Social Security, because we're in our mid 40s. We know, and we look at the markets. Social Security is, even if you do have a great Social Security fund, we know inflation is always going to ding that, and your Social Security does not adjust with inflation.
No, it doesn't.
And
No, it
the
doesn't.
sad part is, I'm not naming any names, but I've had family members where I've watched them bank on Social Security and then turn around and, hey, they are stressing every month because inflation has gone up, but their Social Security hasn't. This is where the financial investment knowledge will help you be able to understand what you need to look at, what you need to do. And hey, Damien is the money guru here. He's the investment guru. I love it. He has so much knowledge to share that it's beneficial, where, hey, I would show mortgage professionals, loan officers, realtors how to show products to clients where I'm like, hey, I need him. I need his help. I don't need to I don't need to pay a financial advisor so they can make money off of dividends that I'm paying them, but allow me to have the keys to the vehicle. And that vehicle is my retirement. It is my own investments. It is knowledge that it's a powerful tool. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and ask real quick, because Damien, you mentioned it earlier about, and maybe people don't have kids. I do, and just 529s. Nobody really knows what that is. And I don't think they're really speaking upon that. And I think that right there, if anyone who does have kids that are watching this, they're worried about their children's future. And they're worried about, hey, what are they going to have to pay for, when they're of age? So go ahead and break down what a 529 is, please.
529 is essentially a college retirement account, but it operates very much like a Roth or like a 401k Roth. So, and they have two types of accounts, but the savings account is the one that gets used more often than the other one. The other one is to prepay tuition. It means you lock in tuition at a particular rate, and your kid could go to this said school years later, but you're locking in the tuition. That is the option that doesn't get utilized much. It's not as available. Not as many states in the United States offer it as well. So the majority is mostly a savings plan. The beauty of that savings plan, though, is that you can get double-digit returns on that and not let it sit like a CD or a money market account. Maybe getting what, like right now, current market rate is about 5% because Jay Powell hasn't lowered the Fed rate cut until September. But when that comes, that's going to start digging into any kind of yield that you're going to get from those instruments. 529 lets you put your money just the same way that you would with any of your IRAs or any of your Roth options or your 401k options. So that means that if you invested a bit more aggressively, if you are able to put in a little bit more risk and you have a good amount of time to let that money grow, you could still see double digit returns like you could with your other retirement instruments. It's just a different way in which you can use that financial instrument. And let's just say it grows profoundly. The U.S. government does allow you to put up to 35,000. Like let's say that was like 100,000, you only use 65. There was 35,000 left because the other 65 covered your whole child's tuition. So long as the account is 15 years old, they will allow you to throw that 35,000, I believe, hassle-free and tax-free into your own retirement, whether you want it to go into your Roth account or your wife's Roth account, or maybe you and your wife have a shared Roth account, but you can do that. So there's a lot of options with 529s. There's literally only about 30% of Americans that are utilizing it. It's starting to climb. It really has climbed, especially the last 5 years from the articles that I've been reading in the Wall Street Journal. But for the most part, it's a very underutilized financial tool. And it's a tool that is something that I would highly recommend for anybody who has kids and for anybody who has kids that are college bound. Or maybe you don't even know they're college bound. Oh, also, and if they want to be an electrician or a plumber, I'm almost positive you can use that money for trade schools as well. So because it's still an institution of it's higher education institution. So you have a lot of flexibility with 529s. It's not just this really rigid little financial instrument. There's a lot of benefits, and if you have kids, which quite a few of you do out there, and if they want to go to college, which I'm sure a lot of them do, or even trade school, this is a really great tool for families. A really great tool. It's not getting utilized. I would love to talk more about this, and we are going to talk more about this in the future. But go ahead,
Awesome,
Robert.
awesome. And it's like, and let's not forget, a trade school like Damien mentioned, an electrician, plumber, welder, mechanic, those Roths, and keep me honest here, as long as the school, even if it is a trade school, as long as it's an accredited school, it's valid.
If it's accredited, so long as
Yeah.
it's accredited, it has to be accredited though. Those are usually almost always the stipulations with like 529s and with pretty much anything that's involved with any of the Department of Education or higher learning. Like if you're accredited, you're golden. Honest.
Perfect, perfect. And you know what? That's so important to know too, because again, you know what? Even with our friends and family that we've grown up with, that hey, you know what? They did go to those trade schools and they did earn a lot of money. It's like those you guys that are listening in that are on those trade schools, we want you to pay attention to this channel too, you know, so you can understand, hey, how can I have my money work for me? You know, it's like, because I'll be honest with you, I'll be the first person to raise my hand. I do not want to work until I'm 65. I kind of want to be with like my buddy here, where I'm retired in Spain, you know, being able to enjoy what's it, a 20-minute, you know, jaunt to the beach where you're at, you know, it's
20 minutes to the city center. It's only about like 15 minutes to the beach.
see,
I'm in Valencia, so it's the third largest city in Spain. Um, very laid back here. You know, it's all in Spanish, but I speak Spanish, so I'm okay. Uh,
nice.
but
Yeah,
I mean, but like Robert said, though, the majority of this was because I bought real estate when I was younger, in California, and the equity that I grew in my home was unreal, and that's why we're always going to push. And I'm always going to say, you know, if you want to try and get into a home, you know, you guys need to talk to Robert. Um, if you guys are trying to really get a part of the American dream, like our parents had, because our parents were homeowners when we grew up in Fontana, in California. So to us, that was always something that we both wanted. Um, and I'm just gonna tell you, that is the best investment that I ever made. I'm so glad I did it. It is literally a reason what funded my partial retirement right now. And I am going to go back to work. I don't have to, mostly because of why? Because I was a homeowner. Yeah, crazy, right? Homeowner, save money in retirement, just like a diligent little, you know, the little ant and the grasshopper. I was one of those ants. I was always socking away some food. I knew it was never a matter of if, it was always a question of when a rainy day would come. But if you're ready for that, you know, it's a different world out there. You don't have to work yourself to your bones until you die. You know, not everybody has to do that. You don't have to retire like that. I wouldn't want that for anybody, to be honest.
and with that said, as we're going to come to a close, I'm going to end it off with a quote that I think it best summarizes what we're trying to do and what we're trying to educate here. It's fortify yourself in moderation. It's an impenetrable fortress. And with that, I want to thank you guys all for joining. Thank you, Damien. And you know what? Be on the lookout. There's going to be more videos, more education, more knowledge to digest that you won't have to pay for, and it will be given to you freely, because teach a man to fish and he'll eat forever. Take care, my friends.